Alright, so today we will continue the video series on pronouns in Hindi. If you haven't already watched the previous installment on personal pronouns, take the time to do so. In this video, we will cover interrogative and other pronouns in Hindi. Let's get started. Let's move on to another type of pronoun, interrogative pronouns. These are the pronouns that are used in questions, such as who, whom, what, which, and whose. For now, our focus will be on the Hindi equivalents of the pronoun who, what, and which. So let's start with who. Kaun means who in Hindi, and it is used in questions. Kaun may be used to speak about any number of individuals, and it appears directly before the verb in the sentence. The second interrogative pronoun is kya, which means what. Now, kya as a word in general is tricky because it does have different meanings depending on its position in the sentence. If it's the very first word of the sentence, it turns the sentence into a question, a yes or no question. But if it appears directly before the verb of the sentence, it functions as the interrogative pronoun what. Finally, we have kaunsa, kaunse, kaunsi, and it means which. Oftentimes in English, we use which right before a noun. For example, which flavor of ice cream is your favorite, or which car has the highest miles per gallon. Similarly, we do the same in Hindi. The sa, se, and si part of this Hindi pronoun agree with the gender of the noun that follows. For example, if we want to say which car in Hindi, we know the word for car in Hindi is gadi, which is a feminine noun. Therefore, we would say kaunsi gadi. For a singular masculine noun, we would use kaunsa, and for a plural masculine noun, we'd use kaunse. For all feminine nouns, regardless of whether the noun is singular or plural, we use kaunsi. So we could have said which cars, and it would still be kaunsi gadiyan. Let's do some examples. Raj kaun hai? Who is Raj? Now remember, we put kaun right before the verb of the sentence, which in this case is hai. Kaun sa desh acha hai? Which country is good? Now to determine whether we use sa, se, or si, we have to look at the succeeding noun, which is desh. Desh is a masculine noun. And because we're not saying countries, we're only saying country, it is singular in this case. So therefore, we'd say kaun sa desh. We would not say kaun se desh, and we would not say kaun si desh. Aapka naam kya hai? What is your name? Now since kya appears right before the verb hai, we know that it functions as the interrogative word meaning what. Now in this sentence, remember we use hai because the subject of the sentence is naam or name, and it's not aap. Ye kaun hai? Who are they? Admittedly, we don't have enough context to determine which meaning of ye is being employed, but here's one possibility, which is they. Now remember, it's pronounced ye and it's spelled ye. So this is the third person personal pronoun that has no pronunciation exception. Ye kya hai? Ye ek kitab hai. Once again, kya appears before the verb hai, so it functions as the interrogative what. In this case, we do have enough context to determine the definition of ye. Remember, although it's spelled yaha, we pronounce it as ye. And admittedly, we could have said what is it? It is a book as well. Kaun se kamre neele hai? Which rooms are blue? So once again, to determine whether we use the sa, se, or si suffix, we take a look at the succeeding noun. Kamre. Kamre means rooms, and it is masculine. So it is masculine plural. Because of that, we would say kaun se kamre. Now remember, the verb also has to agree with the subject, which in this case is kamre, and so we'd have to make it plural. Two more pronouns that are neither interrogative pronouns nor personal pronouns include someone/somebody, anyone, something, or anything. In Hindi, these pronouns are represented by koi, which means both someone/somebody and anybody, and kuch, which means both something and anything. Both pronouns refer to one entity, in other words, they are singular. In the simplest cases, these pronouns are placed right before the verb of the sentence. Now later on, you'll learn that these words koi and kuch also function as adjectives, but for now, we'll only be considering their use as pronouns. When the negative nahi is added to these pronouns, the antonyms koi nahi and kuch nahi are formed. They mean nobody/no one and nothing, respectively. Let's do some practice with the pronouns we've learned so far by translating the following sentences from English to Hindi. Let's start with the first sentence. Nothing is on the table. So we can start with on the table. Mez par. We know the word for nothing is kuch nahi. Remember, kuch means something. Adding the negative nahi forms its antonym, nothing. And kuch is singular, and this is true of kuch nahi. So we'd use the verb hai. Alternatively, remember, the rough counterpart of the English word is hai. Who is Ranbir Kapoor? Remember, in Hindi, the word who is kaun, and kaun appears right before the verb of the sentence. So this sentence would be structured as Ranbir Kapoor kaun hai. When spelling the name Ranbir, use the Sanskrit letter na. In India, which city is bad? We can start with the in India part, which is Bharat mein. Now we know the word for which in Hindi is kaunsa/si/se. And to determine whether we use either sa, se, or si, we have to know the gender of the succeeding noun and whether the succeeding noun is singular or plural. Well, in this case, we know that the succeeding noun city is singular. Now we just have to know whether it's masculine or feminine in Hindi. The word for city in Hindi is sheher, and even though it is pronounced sheher, it is spelled shahar. It is a masculine noun. So, because it's singular, because it's masculine, we'd say kaunsa sheher. Kharab hai. Bharat mein kaun sa shehar kharab hai? Finally, someone is at the office. Remember, the word for someone or somebody or anybody is koi. Office is daftar. This is a half letter fa, actually. Koi daftar mein hai. Someone is in the office. So there you have it. We've covered a lot of pronouns so far, and I hope that you will apply these pronouns as you construct your own sentences in Hindi. I'll see you in the next video.